I can't believe CNN got the first sit-down interview with Harrison Walls. I called shotgun in our email.
Oh, don't act so surprised. They've obviously got to go with a mainstream outlet.
But I've been prepping for weeks.
Well, I guess there's still a chance we can get an interview. It just won't be the first.
Oh, good point. So we can't get her first sit-down. Maybe we can get her first stand-up interview.
Oh, I don't think they do that.
Maybe her first walk and talk. Sorkin style.
Well, that sounds impossible for, well, us.
What about her first lay-down interview? We could cuddle up, just the three of us.
You're not making any sense.
Oh, you're right. The four of us, because Tim Walls will be there too.
No!
I call middle spoon. Welcome to Felt the Nation. I'm Simon Socks.
And I'm Kendra Sooth. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz sat down with CNN last night, ending the talk about when they would do their first joint interview.
And now Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have gone one day without holding a second sit-down interview. When will they commit to that? What are they hiding? Well, also this week, the Harris campaign announced housing proposals to build new homes and lower costs for homebuyers. Housing costs are voters' second most important economic worry, according to new polling. And I'm one of them. After my son Henry brought his friends to our summer home in Newport and trashed the place. It smells like unwashed feet now, and the fumigation is going to cost me thousands.
Well, Harris is calling for 3 million more housing units to be built in 4 years and a $40 billion fund for local governments to build more affordable housing, which is great news for people who want a new home and completely irrelevant news for people who live in golf mansions.
Which brings us to this news. Former President Trump says he's going to host a J6 awards gala for the January 6th rioters at his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey.
Oh, horrifying.
Yes, but I love an award show. One time I went to the Phoenix, Arizona Daytime Talk Radio / Milkshake and Smoothie Awards with my wife, and we met Sam Harrison.
Oh, who's that?
Only the best smoothie maker in the greater Phoenix area.
Well, honestly, that award show sounds more legitimate than Trump's.
Did you say an award show is happening?
It's our fashionable trend-spotting correspondent, Bugsy Morales.
Yeah, hey, so are we covering the gala? Can you send me? I have to wear this puffing tuxedo that I got sent to me on the air at least once or it's not free.
Oh, puffin tuxedo?
Oh, relax, Kendra. It's mock puffin. But I want to do the red carpet for the J6 Awards. Are they calling it the Insurrecties?
This isn't funny. These people attacked the Capitol to overturn the election.
Yeah, and they shot amazing footage of themselves doing it, and they went viral. That makes them influencers, and it is our duty as news people to see what they think about the news and hot trends.
I wonder if the QAnon shaman will be there.
Oh, if he is, I won't recognize him without the horns.
Guys, I'm serious. We shouldn't make light of this. January 6th was a horrific day for our country. 4 police officers died.
Oh, actually, Kendra, Trump's position is that nobody died on January 6th.
Well, okay, he's wrong.
Yeah, I thought he might be wrong too. So I looked it up, and the New York Times fact check said that, quote, Trump himself recently said no one died on January 6th. The fight over that attack continues to this day. So I guess we'll never know.
But we do know.
Yeah, I'm confused. I know what happened, but I also have to say it didn't happen because Republicans say it didn't happen. What's happening to my brain? It feels like I drink one of Sam's famous grasshopper smoothies too fast.
Sorry, Bugsy, you're not covering the fake award show. We're a news organization and we cover real news. Speaking of which, our correspondent Blitz Vester has been following the support of union leaders for Kamala Harris following last week's DNC. Blitz, where are you now?
Hey everyone, I'm in a wonderful donut shop in Valdosta, Georgia, talking to ordinary workers about what they want in a president.
Whoa, that looks delicious, Blitz. What kind of donut did you get?
Whatever makes sense. As you all know, the DNC featured strong representation from unions, and what I discovered on the road this week is that Harris's record on workers goes beyond her time as vice president. When she was Attorney General of California, she secured hundreds of millions of dollars for public employee pension funds after big banks tried to screw them over. And as senator, she championed legislation that strengthened workers' rights to negotiate for better wages and conditions.
Now, let me ask a follow-up question, Blitz. How long have the people at the donut shop been working there?
Well, I just spoke to Carla Walter, an expert on union labor, to answer some more relevant questions about the Harris Walls plan for workers. Simon, can you get the control room to whip up a graphic that says Blitz and Blintzes?
Oh, catchy. But does a donut count as a blintz? I think we may need another fact-check segment later on.
Well, thanks so much for being here, Carla. Now, before you take a bite, can you tell us why the Biden-Harris policies are getting so much support from unions?
Yeah, absolutely. So we saw President Biden and Vice President Harris come into office and make this real commitment to be the most pro-union administration in American history. And by many marks, they're living up to that measure. We've seen a lot of visible manifestations of that. We've seen them walk the picket line with auto workers. We've seen them have Starbucks workers and video game designers at the White House and really push corporations to come into compliance with labor laws. The Biden administration has also taken steps that have received less attention, steps like raising contractor minimum wages, steps like increasing overtime coverage, and ensuring that unionized retirees can receive the benefits of retirement by making sure their benefits are guaranteed.
In 2023, Kamala Harris canceled an appearance for an MTV event to avoid crossing the picket line during last year's writer's strike, and even changed her hotel reservation for a separate event so she wouldn't cross a picket line held by the hotel employees. And Tim Walz was also a proud member of a teachers' union. But what do we know about Trump's record supporting unions?
So Vice President Harris really has a lifetime record of supporting working people. We know that in the summertime when she was a college student, she was working fast food.
That's right, McDonald's.
Yeah, and then she walked the picket line with those workers as vice president. And when she was attorney general in California, she was fighting to make sure that law-breaking employers weren't able to steal their workers' wages. In contrast, we have President Trump, who hosted a TV show whose tagline was famously, "You're fired." He's buddies with billionaires like Elon Musk and was just on X with him, joking about firing striking workers. And we can expect that everything he's telling us about what he's going to do for working people would be a reality if he were elected.
Now let's get into the campaign's plans for the future. If you're an hourly worker at a donut shop that J.D. Vance awkwardly walks into, or any donut shop for that matter, what can you look forward to in a Harris administration versus a Trump administration?
We know that Vice President Harris is going to continue the important work that she's already begun. But we also know that she's going to be leaning into other pro-worker actions, like ensuring that we increase that minimum wage. Currently, the federal minimum wage is set at $7.25 per hour.
That's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. And donut shop workers and truck drivers and fast food workers cannot afford to live that way. Meanwhile, we know that President Trump, when he was president, pushed to weaken overtime protections. He said he would veto a minimum wage law, and he even went after the wages of tipped workers, making it easier for employers to steal tips from their workers. Trump has shown us who the next administration would be for, and that's big corporations. We've seen his record, and we know what the future would hold.
Well, thanks, Carla. And you know what? Now you can eat your donuts.
Thanks so much.
That does it for this week of Blitz and Blintzes. Next week, I'm going to be doing Vester and Vespas, where I interview newsmakers on Italian scooters.
Blitz, no, we can't afford that. Now, about this fact-check segment. I saw during the DNC that news outlets were pumping out rapid-fire fact-checks of the speakers. And I thought, why don't we get on that viral action? So Bugsy here is going to do some viral fact checks.
Oh, he is.
I am.
Yeah, I mean, how hard can it be? It looks like these fact checkers are just Googling stuff quickly and copy-pasting it onto news websites. And you've got faster thumbs than anyone here.
I do. Wow, years of mobile gaming has prepared me for primetime journalism.
Okay, first fact check. The Trump team says Biden and Harris have weaponized the IRS to confiscate your tip money. Biden and Harris have literally unleashed the IRS to harass workers who receive tips.
Okay, oh God, that's a lot. Okay, Googling it right now.
No, that is not how you're supposed to do fact check, guys.
Okay, so as far as I can tell, Biden and Harris have not literally unleashed the IRS. The IRS agents do not wear collars tethered to poles, so they cannot be unleashed. So I would call this claim, misleading?
Nice fact check, Bugsy.
But what about the substance of the claim?
Oh God, that would take like minutes of work. I don't even know if I could do that on air.
We do actually have a real expert we can get on this. Alan Piper, Courier Newsroom correspondent, is a journalist and former professional fact checker. Alan, can you set the record straight here?
Certainly, Kendra. This is indeed a false claim. When MAGA Republicans are talking about weaponizing the IRS, what they're actually referring to is just funding the IRS, which is good for most Americans. The increased IRS funding in the Inflation Reduction Act has allowed the agency to collect roughly $500 million from rich tax cheats. And this money pays for programs that Americans need, it helps reduce the deficit, and it's just enforcing the law. Now, in terms of the overall tax policies of the two candidates, it's worth noting that what Donald Trump wants to do is to double down on the tax cuts for the rich and big corporations from his first term, which blew up the deficit. And Harris is, by contrast, promising to cut taxes on middle and low-income workers, paying for it by increasing taxes a little on the richest Americans. And she has also committed to keeping the promise that President Biden made and kept that Americans earning under $400,000 will not see their taxes go up.
Wow. All right, second fact check. Trump says Kamala Harris met Vladimir Putin in Russia to tell him not to invade Ukraine, and then 3 days later, Putin, invaded Ukraine.
Okay, well, that seems batshit. Okay, well, here's a picture of Kamala Harris shaking Putin's hand, and she's giving a thumbs up.
Bugsy, that photo is obviously AI generated. Look, she has 7 fingers on that hand.
Oh my God, now I have to know how many fingers Kamala has on her hands. Oh my God.
Alan, please, can you handle this one?
Sure. This is just a completely made-up claim that Trump has been repeating lately. There is no record of Vice President Harris meeting with Putin about this or anything else. As with a lot of things that the former president says, it's really hard to tell if he is knowingly lying or if he's just increasingly addled and confused, but this is just simply a thing that did not happen. Also, having interviewed Kamala Harris myself, I can confirm that she has a totally normal number of fingers.
Whoa, another zinger. Okay, last fact check. The Trump campaign was trying to back out of the ABC debate by accusing the Harris campaign of wanting to keep the microphones on. They say the Harris campaign is flip-flopping because they previously agreed to have the mics off.
Honestly, Simon, who cares?
I kind of agree. We don't need to take the Trump team's statements seriously at this point.
And my phone died.
Alan, thoughts on this?
I'd say Kendra's point is spot on. It's a mistake to take any statement from the Trump campaign at face value at this point. I think that's one of 3 basic mistakes that a lot of the media have been employing when it comes to fact-checking Trump. One is to assume that if he says something, there must be some kind of kernel of truth to it, when usually there isn't. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there's a tendency for a lot of journalists to simply dismiss and ignore some of the more strange claims Trump makes because they assume he says all kinds of things. And that leads them to ignore really dangerous statements, such as his suggestion that he should terminate the Constitution or his repeated suggestions that he might serve beyond 2 terms. And then the third mistake that I see from fact checkers is something we certainly saw recently after the conventions, which is this obsession with balance over honesty. And I think we saw that after the Republican convention, when a lot of fact checkers had spent time correctly calling out really just made up lies that were told, they then sort of tied themselves in knots to try to come up with an equal number of items to fact check in the Democratic convention. The fact of the matter is, we are at a point when one party has simply divorced itself from reality. And if fact checkers aren't willing to acknowledge that and to recognize that this is not a both sides issue, but an issue with a single party, well, then we're honestly just failing to provide the public with what they need at a very crucial moment in history.
Whoa, impressive. And that's a fact check segment. Thanks for joining us, Alan. Bugsy, you're never doing this again.
Okay, honestly, thank God, because I am bored out of my mind right now. Whoa.
Well, that does it for us here today at Felt the Nation. I'm Kendra Sooth.
And I'm Simon Sachs. Go fact yourselves.
Wait, what? You can't say that on the air.
Oh, no. We'd lose our family rating if I said go fact.
The stuff from Republicans about how Kamala Harris is laughing too much is infuriating.
Bro, I know. They say women don't smile enough, and now they say she smiles too much.
Honestly, have you ever even seen Trump laugh? I don't think I have.
Oh yeah, he's always scowling, never smiling. Smile more, dude.
Ooh, smile more. That's a good hashtag for Trump. We should get that trending.
Maybe if we do a video of us smiling, it'll be funny.
Ooh, great idea. But how do we?
Can we just use a filter or something?
Sure, yeah, try that.
Wait, this might be better. No, stop. Ooh. Oh, that's nice. Are you... It's pretty good for cringe talk.